The hour of 2 o'clock having arrived, the Santa Cruz City Council meeting will come to order. Would the clerk be kind enough to call the roll?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Triguero is absent, sorry. Councilmember Brunner?
Present.
Newsom?
Present.
Golder? Here. Councilmember O'Hara?
Here.
Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson?
Present.
And Mayor Keeley?
Present. I'd like to call on the city attorney to make a statement with regard to Councilmember O'Hara.
Yes, of course, Mayor.
Thank you.
A remote appearance is authorized due to a council member illness, which is identified as just cause for the remote appearance under the Brown Act. No vote of the council is necessary to authorize a remote appearance for just cause, but Councilmember O'Hara will need to provide the council with a very general description of the circumstances relating to her need to appear remotely, and also inform the council as to whether any individual over the age of 18 is present in the room with her at the remote location, and if so, the general nature of her relationship with that person. And with that, I'll hand it over to Councilmember O'Hara.
Councilmember O'Hara, good afternoon.
Thank you, Mayor. I am sick at home and didn't want to expose my colleagues to this cold, and there's nobody here with me in the room.
Councilmember, we hope you feel better soon, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We may or may not have some technical difficulties. I am told that AWS is down worldwide. That is a provider that we use to provide this remote participation by members of our public and community who may wish to join the council meeting and provide comment and so on. Should the worldwide problem arise while we are in session, what we will do is the law allows us to have a 1 hour period of time with which to try to solve the technical problem. I want to be clear, it ain't our problem in that we can't fix it if we wanted to. It's an external problem. But should that arise, we will take a break that will happen under two conditions. One, we'll take a break until it's fixed. If after an hour's time it is not fixed, I will make that statement and we will take a vote to proceed, notwithstanding this problem. We need to do business, but I am alerting the public that may occur. Now, back to our agenda. Any statements of disqualification on closed session? Councilmember Brunner.
Thank you. Closed session agenda item 2.3 as it relates to my employment.
Thank you, Councilmember. Anyone else? All right, very good. Let me see, anyone who is with us or online, this will be your opportunity to comment on our closed session agenda. That is items 1, 2, and 3. These items relate to conference with legal counsel on liability claims, real property negotiation, and conference with our labor negotiators. Anyone with us in chambers wish to make comment? Seeing and hearing none. Ms. Bush, do we have anyone online?
We do not.
Very good. However, if someone had been on, we could have taken them right now, right? The system's still working thus far. All right, thank you. Without objection, what we will do is now adjourn into closed session. We will be back under one of two times, either at 3 o'clock or when we finish if it is later than 3 o'clock. We now stand in adjourned into closed session. And the Santa Cruz City Council having completed its business in closed session, we will come back into session. I am going to call on our city attorney to make an announcement regarding Councilmember O'Hara.
Sure, good afternoon. I believe that Councilmember O'Hara just wanted to update her disclosure around her remote appearance.
Good. We again wish the council member a quick recovery from her cold and wish her the best, and are very grateful that she's joining us remotely today. Clerk, would you be kind enough to call the roll?
Hold on one second. I believe that if you let Councilmember O'Hara speak, she wanted.
Councilmember O'Hara, please.
Thank you. Sorry, I've got some feedback here. Can people hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I am just updating my disclosure that there is potential that my husband, Matt O'Hara, might be in the room during the meeting.
Thank you very much, and we do wish you a swift recovery. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll? Thank you.
Councilmember Triguero is absent. Councilmember Brunner,
Present.
Newsom,
Present.
Boulder, Councilmember O'Hara,
Here.
Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson,
Present.
Mayor Keeley.
Present, a quorum having been established, we will move to oral communication. This will be the opportunity for anyone to address the council on a matter under our jurisdiction, but not on today's agenda. What we will do in the event that there are folks who wish to comment online, we will take a person here in chambers, then we'll take a person online. We'll toggle back and forth. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to the City Council meeting.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Sure.
I was making some balloons. I was thinking a little bit about how balloons are a little bit of an engineering feat. Like to get the length of balloon, in the right shape and have it, not too overly inflated as to pop. One thing I think that's kind of emblematic of the intensive development that's been going on in Santa Cruz over the last 4 years, maybe going a little further back, dating back maybe to the redevelopment agencies building all the commercial buildings downtown. Now we have tenants like Amazon and Google's Looker and various other Philippe Kahn's Power and all these, I don't know. But I feel like the fire that happened at the Moss Landing power plant with the lithium-ion batteries and just a huge array of them is kind of emblematic of the aspirations to have this part of the Bay Area that serviced in a way that's technically looking towards a future where we're not fossil fuel dependent. But one of the things about the balloon is it can pop. So you have to design that in mind, I think. And I'm not going to say that there's it's unlikely that you're going to double down and have twice as many buildings in the next 4 years. But I hope that whoever runs for mayor takes cognizance of the fact that we have had an awful lot of development lately, and it's unnecessary to continue at the pace we've been going. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have anyone online? We'll take the person online, then we'll be right with you. Person online, good afternoon. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Yeah, hi, Mayor. This is Garrett. Hey, I'm going to read a letter the Sentinel didn't and will never publish. Minneapolis did not change anything. Multiple national polls, including NBC, ABC, still show a majority between 55 and 64% of all Americans want all illegals deported, the same as in polling 2024. Don't let the anti-ICE thugs fool you. They are for chaos, criminality, and corruption. They are against democracy and the rule of American law. The point of communist methodology is always to trigger government violence, which can then be used to create public sympathy and bolster a revolution using the useful idiot life dysfunctional, hateful, dissatisfied. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. Those professing support for sanctuary and pretending to care about public safety are bathed head to toe in a dangerous hypocrisy. The public is concerned about more, though, than illegals' violent criminality, like high demand price inflation or tax dollars being devoured by migrants seeking welfare-type handouts, by fraud, and the millions of American jobs going to foreigners who work for 30% less under the table. When you add in the concern about a subversive agenda to destroy Western culture and replace it with a multicultural globalist socialism, anarchy, deconstructing the West, the poll numbers all make sense, and also why they aren't 100% for deportation of all illegal aliens. Thanks.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council members, Gillian Greenside. I'm speaking to the item which is under the addendum, so it's not for your discussion, and I checked with the city clerk that I could speak to it here. Oh, we only have 2 minutes, is that right? Looking at the clock, we only have 2 minutes, okay. You might remember that on October 18th, you passed a resolution on local preference policy and for local workers. And in your summary letter, which I can only conclude you haven't had the time to read carefully, it is full of inaccuracies and has problems. And let me be specific without just making a statement like that. It says, at the City Council meeting on October 28th, Council directed staff to investigate a revised local preference policy. No, the resolution that you passed unanimously says, directs the city manager and city attorney to prepare a draft ordinance. It also goes on to say that it would apply local worker and resident preference policies to all deed-restricted affordable housing developments, including those supported by the city's Affordable Housing Trust Fund and other city assistance. This says to investigate. That is not developing an ordinance, nor is it when it just focuses and says it will only be on inclusionary housing. I voted for Measure C based on the fact that you took seriously and had a resolution. You're now, it feels, putting it on the slow walk, now sending it to a subcommittee, not even addressing what you directed staff to address. Thank you.
We have anyone else online? No. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
My name is Michael Collins. I'm a 36-year resident of Santa Cruz, a 34-year resident of the St. George. More important than my claim against the city of Santa Cruz is the non-enforcement of ordinance number 2021 based on June 21st, 2021, which significantly amended section 106830 of the Santa Cruz Municipal Code passed in 1976, prohibiting riding bicycles and electric bikes adjacent to commercial establishments and business district. The ordinance number 2021 mandated the impoundment of property for individuals violating the amended ordinance. The critically ignored issue of people riding their bicycles and e-bikes on the sidewalk downtown, especially on Pacific Avenue, is a danger to all residents and tourists visiting Surf City daily. There are many offenders in violation of community norms of behavior. It is a ticking time bomb ready to explode. The city council must be proactive instead of reactive. The death or major injury of a little old lady, a small child, or a handicapped person will result in a massive multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the city of Santa Cruz by justified victims of negligence by city officials. I call for the mayor, the city council, and the Santa Cruz Police Department to enforce ordinance number 2021, unanimously banning bicycles and e-bikes downtown on the sidewalk. Signs must be more.
Anyone else online? Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
I'm Ryan Baumgartner, and I'm just really getting tired of all the hate and whatever it is. We need to love everything, all life forms. Even if we take the lives, we need to love everybody that's coming from everywhere and respecting the environment a lot more. I was on the Levee Trail, and the gentleman that was cleaning up out of the green cans, leaving his truck just running for a very long time. There's a Santa Cruz City law that you should turn it off after 90 seconds. And this is just, it's really frustrating. I'm almost 73, and I've come from the area where it was so smoggy You could barely go outside. You could barely see. You would cough. Your eyes would be burning. Is that the world we want? No, I don't think so. Do we want to go back to hydrocarbons? We need to go helium. We're doing that more with buses in Santa Cruz. We need to continue on forward paths. We have retrospect, introspect. Why don't we have futurespect? We need to be looking at the future more, planning, being more careful of how we do that. And the environment around us, I can feel entire ecosystems disappearing constantly. Animal species of all kinds, plants. I worked with endangered butterflies. For example, we could really manage a lot better in a lot of areas. And these endangered butterflies, they needed certain plants. There's some that are wide, we eat a wide variety of plants. These eat specific plants. Those plants are gone, the butterflies are gone. And so we could actually manipulate the environment by helping it, maintaining these things. I worked with 3 different species, subspecies, and we were able to keep them going. We need to keep doing that with everything. If we're going to disturb an area, we need to take another area and protect it and steward it, take care of it, focus on it, manage it, and not just do willy-nilly use all the energy that we're using. We have to change our ways. Thank you.
Anyone online? Anyone else under oral communication? Seeing and hearing none, we will move on to item 4. I'd like to invite Mr. Elliott to come up. This is a wonderful moment for us. We'll be recognizing one of our long-serving public employees who does a great job for us. Mr. Elliott, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I've invited the entire Parks and Rec crew up here as well, if I may, just to help celebrate Miss Keaty. Okay, I'm anxious to get this pin out of my hands. I'm worried I'm going to lose it. So thank you again very much for this opportunity. We have not done one of these pin presentations in some time, so thank you very much for the chance to be up here. Today we are celebrating Miss Leslie Keaty, who's celebrating 25 years with the city. Leslie plays a really integral role as part of the mission of the Parks and Recreation Department, which is up here on the screen, which is providing quality public spaces and experiences that build a healthy community, foster equity, and better the environment. Next slide. Leslie's work over the past 25 years has been had a tremendous impact on the community by assuring the preservation and health of our urban forest, and by developing the next generation of stewards and forestry professionals. Here are a few just from last Arbor Day with the mayor right there. All right, next slide. This is just a brief snapshot of some of the impacts here that Leslie has made over her 25 years of service with the city. Leslie's been a certified arborist since 1994. She leads the city's Tree USA designation in that program. She serves a critical role in city storm response. We're glad the wind calmed down today, so Leslie wasn't called away to trees down, so appreciate that. We had that happen in a commission meeting back in December. Leslie leads the community tree planting efforts. We've worked with Councilmember Golder planting trees at Bayview. We worked with Cabrillo College, Santa Cruz Shakespeare, City Schools, and a number of other partners. Leslie was instrumental in developing the first city street tree master plan in 2021. Also in 2021, Leslie was awarded with the International Society of Arboriculture's Award of Commendation for her work within the city. And then just last year in December, just a few months ago, Leslie was nominated and selected by her colleagues in Parks and Recreation as the certificate, as Employee of the Year within the Parks and Recreation Department. So that's not coming from me, that's not coming from anybody else, although I fully support that, but that's really from Leslie's colleagues, honoring Leslie's work and her professionalism. So kudos all around. All right, last slide. So today we just want to congratulate, celebrate, and honor Leslie Keaty for her professionalism and work ethic that she brings to the workplace day in and day out. Because of her contribution over the past 25 years, Santa Cruz can live amidst a more beautiful and healthier environment. So today it's my pleasure and honor to congratulate Leslie Keaty on her 25th anniversary and present this very fancy 25-year pin on behalf of the city and the Parks and Recreation Department. There you go, congrats.
Ms. Keaty, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Just wanted to say that I had really not a whole lot of jobs in my career, all of which were plant and tree related, but never would I have anticipated working for an agency for 25 years and hopefully several more years to come before I retire. I just find it a real pleasure. I've had amazing support from community, helping me through the CZU issues. People are so supportive, and I appreciate that sometimes we don't always agree on topics, but we go ahead and get all of our arguments out there and our justifications and our explanations, and it's just, I would just really take pleasure in helping people work through these issues. I can't say enough about the peers, all the different departments that I work with, fire, public works, planning, and I talk a lot, really economic development, city manager's office, libraries, I mean, really everybody. And we definitely work as a team, and I couldn't do it without all of them. And then also working with advisory bodies such as yourselves and our commissions that listen to these meetings and are very thoughtful and considerate about everybody's opinions. And the city attorney's office is pretty critical also. So I just feel really supported, and it's moments like this that just are super awesome. So thank you, and thank my department for coming out and supporting me. So thank you. You're all very wonderful people to work with. Thanks.
Thank you. Don't go away. Don't go away. Leslie, don't go away. I think you may hear a couple of comments here too. Let's see my colleagues. I know Councilmember.
I'll start. I so appreciate the work that you do in the city and the forward vision, like one of our speakers said, you have to making sure that we have a beautiful, healthy Santa Cruz for years to come. I first met you, I don't know, 2012 or something, when my son won some tree contest, or came in second place. He didn't win the trees, he won some money for our school, and you came out and brought trees to Bayview, 5 trees. 2 are still there, the redwood tree right there on Bay, and one other one that's in the middle of campus. And you've just been so supportive over the years with any questions I have regarding any of the tree permits and things that come up, and just your focus on the future and making sure that we're replacing trees as they've had to be removed has been really a gift that you've given to not just us, but to future generations. So thank you.
Thank you. Others, please. Madam Vice Mayor.
Congratulations. Thank you for all the great work that you do. I know that there are many parts of your job that are very difficult, and you always show professionalism and you do it with grace. And I see it, we see it, we really appreciate it. And I did get to see you in action at Bayview a year ago, maybe? Yeah, on our Arbor Day when you went and planted the trees, and your interaction with the kids was just amazing. So congratulations and thank you.
Excuse me. Councilmember O'Hara. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Leslie, hopefully you can hear me here. The first time that I worked with you was way before I worked for the city. We had a huge Douglas fir in our backyard that dropped about a 30-foot limb on top of our kids' play structure. And you came out and advised us on how to manage that and the risks associated with having a forest tree in an urban environment. And I learned so much at that time, not only about our unique experience, but how critical your role is in a community like ours. When you think about our urban forest and this living, breathing organism that really sustains our community in so many different ways, having a steward like you who is out there looking out for these objects that may feel inanimate, but they're not. They are really, important to sustaining the health of our community. And I just put so much credit in your bucket for keeping an eye out for that for so many decades. So I just wanted to share my appreciation really from the bottom of my heart and congratulate you on your 25 years. And hopefully we have another 10 years out of you before you end up retiring. Thank you.
We'll see.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor. I just want to associate myself with the comments that have been made and really thank you for your dedicated service to the city for 25 years of service. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember.
Thank you so much and congratulations. 25 years anywhere at one job is really amazing, especially nowadays, and what you've contributed. In my 5 years on city council, you've been such a resource and such a great knowledge base for our master tree plan and the urban forest and working with community members and specific examples and specific permits. And we really value that knowledge base that you bring and your forward thinking for the city. I think we're very lucky to have that. Thank you for all that you put in every day, all the time. And we wish you 25 more years.
That'd be nice.
Leslie, thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. I wanted to mention on a personal note that when I came back from serving in the legislature, I got this opportunity to buy this lovely house, Victorian home, but it didn't have any landscaping, so I was starting to do the landscaping, and one of the things I want to do is put up some low walls, and so, well, as it turns out, there's the old Italians in the neighborhood tell me this story, which is that the last living heir of that original house, when she was a child, she and the family went up to Yosemite for a vacation. They came back literally in a buckboard and a wagon, and so on, and horses. And she, when she was a small child, took a cedar sapling, wrapped it in a burlap sack, and as the old Italians in the neighborhood say, baptized it in the Merced River and brought it all the way back to Santa Cruz and planted it in the front yard of what is now my home. And when I was getting ready to do a little landscaping, build a wall, you came over and said, I think it would be a good idea if what you did was dug under this certain part and put a concrete bridge over this big root, and that is going to be the best thing to keep this thing alive. It was like such a great recommendation. We did exactly that. The tree is one of the most beautiful heritage cedars in the city of Santa Cruz, and that is what you do all the time. We have a better, healthier urban forest because you care about every one of them. And I'm sure it breaks your heart when there's something in front of this council to take down a heritage tree. That has to be the least fun of your job. And all the rest of it is what you do. You make a healthy urban canopy and forest in our community, and we love you every day for that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. We are on with other business.
Thank
you, my
you.
friend.
Okay.
Good to see
Appreciate
you.
it.
Presiding officer announcements. As they are exiting the room, I want to extend our congratulations to former Santa Cruz County Supervisor John Leopold for winning a Grammy Award, for goodness sake. It was a stunning, stunning thing. And without objection, I would like, on behalf of the city, to send a congratulatory letter to former Supervisor Leopold. And without objection, that'll be the case. Let me move on to statements of disqualifications on this part of the agenda. Any disqualifications? Seeing and hearing none, we will go to additions or deletions.
I have none, no.
Additions or deletions.
None.
City Attorney report. Madam City Attorney, good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The council met in closed session just after 2 p.m. today and discussed the claims of Michael Andrew Collins, Brendan Daly, Linda Ann Waskiewicz, and Vahid Ibrahimi. Sorry, some hard ones today. The council also met in closed session with its city negotiator to discuss 2 items of real property negotiation. Those concerned properties at 47 Municipal Wharf and 41 Municipal Wharf. The council did not discuss the matter at 121 Soquel Avenue, which was on the closed session agenda, but it wasn't discussed today. Lastly, the council met with its city negotiator to discuss labor negotiations with the Police Officers Association.
Thank you. We are on the consent agenda. For those of you that might be unfamiliar with it, we will be taking up items 6 through 14 on one motion. And what we will do is I will give council members the opportunity to pull an item, comment on an item, or ask a question on any of those. When I finish that, I'll go out to you, see if you have a desire to do any of that. If you are going to speak on the consent agenda, you will have a period of time. If you are speaking on one item, 2 minutes. If you're going to speak on multiple items, you'll have a total of 3 minutes for all of your comments. Let me start with council member, and she's shaking her head no, and the vice mayor.
Thank you. Just one item. I want
Certainly.
to comment on item 7, and that's the
Please proceed.
City of Santa Cruz Sugar Sweetened Beverage Distribution Tax Oversight Committee. Just excited to see this come forward. I want to acknowledge and thank the work of city staff over the last year to bring us to this place, and my colleagues, Councilmember Bruner and Councilmember Triguero, who helped and served on the ad hoc committee with myself. I think we have a great group of community candidates who will help us make wise decisions about these funds and reinvesting in community well-being. And I'm really happy to be considered for this committee as well. That's all.
Very good, thank you. Councilmember Newsom, Councilmember Brenner.
Thank you. I have a couple comments. Agenda item 7, City of Santa Cruz Sugar Sweetened Beverage Distribution Tax Oversight Committee item. I also just wanted to briefly express appreciation to city staff and to getting to this point, but also to my colleague, Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson, who would be serving on this committee. The other brief appreciation is to HR Sarah De Leon and to finance team, including Elizabeth Cabell, for items 11 through 14, basically. And I just want to appreciate the way information is processed and presented and the collaborative work with these items and reaching resolution. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Councilmember O'Hara.
I have nothing. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Let me see if there's anyone with us who wishes to make a comment on the consent agenda. Please come forward and do so at this time. Do we have anyone online? We do. So please come forward. Please come forward. Thank you.
Council Fred, thanks. Hi. The sugar beverage, sugar water thing. So that's a pretty healthy amount of money, I'm sure. I sure feel it when I buy a soda at Zockley's. I was in Felton recently, and they said it's the sugar beverage thing when I was looking at like some unfamiliar charge on my. So I don't know, maybe the county's following suit. It's a little off-putting, to be honest, that the other taxation issue was, I guess it was delivery drivers for, gig delivery app type people tips, somehow hardwiring, that the tip's mandatory or something. So it's a little bit of a lot of trapdoor logic there because, who's in charge of all that? I'll talk a little bit about the fire management stuff. I hope you're taking heed of some of my complaints about the fuel volume up above UCSC. So when limbs fall, when trees fall, it accumulates up there, just unlike anywhere else in the whole county. Honestly, the CZU region probably didn't have as much fuel mass as above campus, and I don't know why they don't seem to collect it. A day like today would be a great day to burn it off. Beyond that, I don't think I have too much to say, so why don't you let someone from the internet talk.
Thank you, sir. We'll take the person online, then we'll be right with you, sir. Person online, good afternoon and welcome.
Yeah, this is Garrett. Hey, before we start, I have a point of order. And you're doing it again. You're changing the rules on speaking times, and the council policy is clearly 3 minutes for non-oral communication speaking times. And when you change the rules, they are that is exclusionary of speech, and really it is a kind of Brown Act violation. Anyway, that's what I have to say for the point of order. If you'd care to comment on that, otherwise I'd like my time reset.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Yeah, well, that was short and sweet. Thank you, Garrett, for saying what you did. My name is James Ewing Whitman, and I guess I could say a wizard is never late, but I did miss oral communication, so being respectful of that. As far as the consent agenda, good, I've got 3 minutes. That's fantastic. I'd like to comment on number 7, where Mrs. Calentori Johnson is part of some sugar beverage tax thing. Number 10, the Michael Andrew Collins lawsuit. And number 6, the minutes of the January 27th. So I'll start with the minutes. I didn't have time. Somebody made a comment as far as public comments as far as the Murray Street Bridge. I think it's absolutely fantastic that at least one side is open, because I tell you, there's a fair amount of traffic going that one direction. So I've been busy doing some stuff. I've had 5 surgeries in the past month. But I did have an opportunity to stop by a place that I like to socialize at. And a bartender I really enjoy, I said, I don't have much time. I don't know if I should do quantity or quality. And he's like, you should do quality, just quantity. So anyway, I have lots of vices. So as far as the minutes, I think that it's not, since I moved into this county in 1995, and I've experienced literally dozens of times we're on Highway 9, because I commuted from Skyline to Highway 9 over 50% of the time. They had little lights, and they let people go back and forth. I think that's the least that this city county could actually do to help the commuters. But at least there's an incredible amount of traffic of people crossing the bridge. Obviously that's used. I'm quite impressed with the quality of the work that they've done on the bridge. Unfortunately, I was actually correct about the actual design. They've got some monumental support for a 24-inch sewer pipe. And it is just gonna basically be 2 more bike lanes. Now, to a friend of mine's credit, who's been confined to a wheelchair most of his life, the bike path did need to be improved. So sticking with the minutes, no, I'm done with the minutes. As far as that lawsuit that the city has rejected by Michael Andrew Collins, I'm pretty sure that has to do with the vehicle accident that, if I recall, happened on June 20th, 2025. If there actually is written information that the city of Santa Cruz was deciding not to do high-speed chases, you guys really need to lose that lawsuit. But I'm not sure if that's valid or not. I don't know if that was after the fact. Now, going to number 7, the sugar tax. There's so many different kinds of sugar. Most of the sugar that people think is sugar is actually a poison, and that's high fructose corn syrup. They developed in 2001 a corn syrup that sterilized people. Enough for now. It's too bad I missed public comments.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Anyone else online?
Yeah, I think Mr. Phillips wasn't done at his first time, so he's raised his hand again.
Oh, well, we're going to take Greg, and then we'll go back to that. Greg, good afternoon. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Good afternoon. The Brown Act, I've seen you adapt as well as possible on the fly to adhering to that kind of thing, and I respect Barrett, he's always thought-provoking. It's cool that this is a small venue and a few people do show up, and so let's just keep being flexible as much as possible, but still adhering to things. As far as the sugar tax, and I'm going to do something underhanded, because the sugar tax, anything could be utilized for just covering the gap of the day services ending on Coral Street, where everybody's going to flood to the library. And I've spoken with the library people several times, and they've spoken here. Guess where they're going to go? Sonia probably knows. People are going to flood downtown after that's closed. But if we have, and we're working on some things, the Housing for Health Partnership has a survey going out about day services. We're trying to get that to people that actually have lived experience and even provide opportunities for them to chip in. But, so that's about sugar tax, right? But thank you. I'm tired today, but I'll be around for any help I can offer in the future. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Greg. Mr. Phillip, good afternoon. Welcome again.
Yes, sir. As to item 7, my main concern, and in the nicest way I can possibly say this, please, pretty please, don't use this or any tax fund money to support illegal aliens in any way. Deport, yes. Support, no. Anyway, Measure Z was the government masquerading as citizens to avoid a 2/3 vote, which it sure didn't receive, and the so-called Citizen Sugar Tax Oversight Committee members were supposed to be independently picked by the city manager, whose applications, I assume, are those in the packet. Wink, wink, all the selected applicants appear handpicked by the 3 council members most behind Measure Z by their referrals. The qualifications are extensive for these people, but are narrowly of the social services variety, the socialist justice variety, the equity variety, one concerned with, I quote, racial socioeconomic divides, which mentions their own race, migration origin, and explain their knowledge of being an other than race, which is strangely mentioned as a job qualifier, but also not uniformly are any of these experts in what I call most of the shiny object measures, the ballot questions, the bait and hook tax purposes. I ask, who is this other than who exactly mentioned? Consider hypothetically, if anyone put down on a job application, I'm the son of an immigrant white boy, and I know all about being a white boy, I wonder if they'd get the job. I mean, like anywhere. I think these applicants are smart, they're knowing very well how ideological leftist public puffing works and whose virtuous social justice fantasies they were milking appointments from. Overtaxing sugar drinks will probably never make any provable health difference, but it sure is a regressive tax channeling. I'm sorry, I'm going to speak to another item here.
Mr. Phillip.
Overtaxing sugar drinks will probably never make any provable health difference, but it sure is a regressive.
Mr. Phillip, thank you. We appreciate your comment. Thank you very much. Anyone else on the consent agenda? Seeing and hearing none, matters back before the body, the pleasure of the body.
I'll move consent.
There's a motion, a second by Councilmember Golder. Is there debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Brunner?
Aye.
Newsom?
Aye.
Golder?
Aye.
O'Hara?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson?
Aye.
And Mayor Cooley?
Aye. Motion passes and so ordered. We're on item number 15. This is amendments to the municipal code section 24.04 related to accessory dwelling units. We have materials in our packet. We have a staff presentation by Claire Stanger and Mr. Van Waw. Good afternoon to both of you. Thank you for your fine work.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council members. Clara Stanger, Senior Planner with the Community Development Department. Today we are talking about some proposed updates to our ADU regulations. There we go. So our updates cover 2 things. First is some state laws that went into effect at the beginning of January 2026. That's SB 543, SB 1154, and AB 462. We're seeking to have these amendments move forward as soon as possible to ensure our ordinance remains consistent with state law. We are also doing some language edits that will make the existing regulations more clear. So these are the updates that the proposed ordinances make to align with state law changes. There's some changes to development standards, use standards, and also permit processing requirements. So in the case of development standards, it would change how the floor area of an ADU or junior ADU is measured. And it would align JADU regulations for fire sprinklers and fees with those for ADUs. Changes to use standards would prohibit short-term rentals of junior ADUs. And they would change owner occupancy requirements on sites with junior ADUs. Previously, owner occupancy was always required on these sites. Under the new change for state law, it is now only required where the JADU does not have its own bathroom. In terms of permit processing changes, there's a new requirement for the city to provide a completeness determination on an ADU or JADU building application. We also have to create a new process for the applicant to appeal that completeness determination or denial of an ADU or junior ADU application. In addition, coastal permits for ADUs are no longer appealable to the Coastal Commission, which would make them effectively a staff level review only. Planning Commission heard the proposed changes on January 8th, 2026 and recommended approval of these changes with one additional recommendation. And that is regarding ADUs and short-term rentals. So the recommendation from Planning Commission was to allow sites with ADUs to obtain a short-term rental permit and rent the primary dwelling on a short-term basis for a period of no more than 7 consecutive days, no more than 90 days per year. And in addition, the primary dwelling must also be the owner's principal place of residence. So currently the municipal code prohibits short-term rentals on either the ADU or the primary dwelling, although state law could allow the primary dwelling to be rented on a short-term basis. Staff has completed a cursory analysis of Planning Commission's proposal and has found that it could provide some benefits, such as increasing fairness between properties. Like right now, someone without an ADU could rent their house on a short-term basis, but someone who owns an ADU could not rent their house on a short-term basis. So the change would make things more fair in that case. The change could also incentivize owner occupancy on ADU sites, which under state law, the city can no longer require. Staff has some questions about the policy as proposed, including the appropriateness of these time limitations and whether or how such a change could be implemented or enforced. So we would like to do initial analysis in order to answer these questions. Staff is ultimately seeking direction from City Council on whether or not to complete this additional analysis and come back with a recommendation at a future date. If Council would like staff to move forward with this work, we request the timing to be determined in consideration of other staff work plan items that include state mandated deadlines as well as other City Council priorities. So next steps for the ordinances before you today. Today is the first reading. If City Council approves the ordinances, they would move to a second reading anticipated for February 24th. And then there is one ordinance that requires approval by the Coastal Commission that would then become part of the city's local coastal program, and that would go to the Coastal Commission anticipated spring of this year. This is the staff recommendation from the agenda report. This concludes my presentation, and staff is available for questions. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Let me see if there are questions of council members. Councilmember Golder is recognized.
I don't know if I have a question so much as I just have a comment. I just want to say that I really appreciate this direction. I've been tracking this issue for a long time, having rented my house out as a short-term rental, my primary residence, when we go on vacation when I was a teacher. And I know when we made the change where we took ADUs, properties with ADUs, out of the mix, it was a missed opportunity from my perspective, because there's families where two families I can think of that just took them off altogether and didn't rent them out as regular rentals. They were there for their family to use when they come to town. And so we are missing out on potential TOT tax during other maybe high, tourist seasons, like the races or different things that come through town. And I think with the increased housing that we've had in the last few years, the ADUs still play an important part of our housing stock, certainly, but maybe less important when there's vacancies at other larger apartment buildings. And so I really support this change, and I hope that, I'm thinking of all the different ways it can help support us, our economy, and our residents. So thank you.
Thank you, council members. Let me see. The vice mayor is recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, just briefly, I agree that I think this is a good direction to go. And I want to clarify that the analysis, the preliminary cursory analysis isn't part of what's being recommended. You're not recommending that we do this right now and adopting what's before us. We would take it a step further.
Correct. So we did some preliminary analysis and came to the conclusion that we would need to look into it further to figure out how this would work and if it would work as it was presented by the Planning Commission.
So you'd bring the ordinance back before us at a future date to further revise it?
Correct.
And what, well, maybe this is too in the weeds, but I know as being part of the housing subcommittee that we do have a full work plan. What would be feasible in terms of when you could come back to council with a deeper analysis?
Probably the most streamlined way to do it would be to bring it back with our annual ADU updates. We tend to do them every year to align with new state laws.
So would that be in a year?
In a year.
Okay. All right, those are my questions for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Further questions by council members? Anyone who is with us in the, excuse me.
Sorry, so sorry.
Councilmember O'Hara.
Councilmember O'Hara has her hand up.
Councilmember O'Hara.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I do have a question for staff, and it trails the Vice Mayor's question. Can you describe how the Planning Commission deliberated on the timing constraints? What was the general flavor of what the discussion was? Because I quite frankly am somewhat concerned, and I think I would appreciate slowing down on this consideration. It seems like no more than 7 consecutive days, up to 90 days a year. If you just look at statistically, that's a lot of different people potentially coming in and out of the short-term rental. So if you could describe a little bit about the Planning Commission's discussion, I would appreciate it.
Sure. So and Matt, maybe you could help me out with this a little bit, but it was a fairly high level discussion. One commissioner threw out a number as a starting point for discussion. They thought about a couple other cities that they knew of that had similar policies, and moved the timelines closer to what those cities did, but there wasn't a very in-depth policy, questions and discussions such as the ones that you're pointing towards, Susie, and I'm sorry, Councilmember O'Hara, and apologize, and those are some of the things that staff has been thinking about that we would need to dig into a little deeper.
Greg, just a follow-up question, thank you. So what we're approving today as the first reading opens up junior owner-occupied homes that have a junior or an ADU to rent on a short term the main dwelling. Can you just clarify for me if we're not going to imply the timing constraints, what are we moving forward with today with the first reading?
So today, the ordinances before you today do not include that amendment. They do not include that language that was recommended by Planning Commission. It is just simply to comply with state law plus the language cleanups to clarify existing regulations. So we would come back at a future date with an ordinance that would address that question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember O'Hara. Other questions? This is the opportunity for anyone who's with us today to make comments on this first reading of the draft ordinance. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to the council meeting.
Yeah, my name is still James Ewing Whitman. It's not actually very often that this board is working on legislation that's actually going to help community members, but this is one where it is actually going to help community members. As I recall, and I could be wrong, but I don't think I am, the bleeding dry of the homeowners, the second homeowners that had rental properties in this county by both this board and the county of Santa Cruz that offered rent control. How many of those second homeowners actually went bankrupt due to that stuff over the couple of years? This is part of the DEI alteration 2030, 2050, turning this community like the whole, they're planning to the United States into neo-feudalism. They're happy with 90% of the current occupants being dead. So it's really nothing new. So it is good that there's something going on, but there's a lot of damage that has actually already happened. I suppose being in the construction industry, I think that this is quite useful. I mean, I'm assuming that the, what was it, $26,000 to do an ADU in here has been altered in the past 5 years. And I'm just reminded of what actually first caused me to deal with the city and county attorneys more than 10 years ago, was doing code compliance. And I had one of the funniest mistakes that happened during that, and I've said it before. I would return these phone calls and I would give the homeowners so much confidence that they did the work themselves and didn't hire me. It's a wayward compliment. So once again, what I'm saying is a wayward compliment as well. That's enough for now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else who's with us wishes to make comment? Is there anyone online? We'll take the person online. Good afternoon. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Yeah, this is Garrett again. Hey, just for the record, you know, a point of order does not count against someone's speaking time. You continually want to cut people off. As far as this item goes, I would be curious as to whether what effect this has on the $52 million reversal of fortune as on item 11's budget, which you didn't say a single word about in terms of explanation. That seems like an awfully big number to just pass over in the consent agenda. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Well, thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to provide testimony on this item? Seeing and hearing none, the matter is back before the body. Pleasure of the body. Vice Mayor is recognized.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to move staff recommendation items 1, 2, 3. Do you want me to read them?
I'm not sure we need to,
Okay.
you put them up on the screen, whatever we've.
So as presented, staff recommendation as presented in the agenda packet, 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth item, which is, sorry, I wrote it down, direct staff to bring back an analysis of Planning Commission's recommended changes to short-term rental regulations as they relate to accessory dwelling units, no later than at the next annual ADU update to the City Council. And Ani, I sent that to you, if that's helpful.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Very good. There is a motion. There's a second by Councilmember Brunner. Madam Vice Mayor, you may open on your motion.
I don't have much to say other than I think this is a great opportunity for us to explore, and if it's been successful in some other communities, I'd like to dig a little deeper.
Very good. Further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Trigueros is absent. Councilmember Brunner?
Aye.
Newsom?
Aye.
Boulder? Aye. O'Hara?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson?
Aye.
And Mayor Keeley?
Aye. Motion passes and so ordered. Madam Clerk, for the business.
None for me.
Madam City Attorney, for the business.
No further business.
We wish Councilmember O'Hara a quick recovery. Hope you feel
Thank you.
better soon. A motion to adjourn would be in order. Councilmember Golder moves. I think I detect a tear in her eye as she does that. And Councilmember Brunner, without a tear in her eye, seconds that motion. Non-debatable. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries and so ordered. We stand adjourned.
I guess I.
Yes.